here is the testes. And this comma-shaped structure, that's superior and posterior, not comma, more like an apostrophe, is the epididymis. So initially, sperm is produced in the testes, moves to this upper portion of the testes, known as the retestes, exits efferent ductules into the epididymis. This is the head, this is the tail. From here, it goes up the vas deferens, or ductus deferens. It's traveling through the inguinal canal in something we call a spermatic cord. We can't see the whole spermatic cord. You see one vein that's leaving. I don't know if you can see an artery coming in, maybe not. But this is the vas deferens. The sperm is carried through here. Remember, it's the smallest cell in the body. It comes right along here. This is a ureter coming in. It goes behind that ureter, and there's a swelling of it over here. This enlargement of the vas deferens is known as the ampulla of the vas deferens. Just in front of that ampulla is this glandular-like material, being the first of the three accessory organs. The accessory organs of the male produce semen. So this is the seminal vesicle. It has a buffering solution so that the sperm can handle the acidity of the vagina. It has fructose because the sperm isn't large enough to carry granules of glycogen or anything, so it relies on this for energy. And it also has some clotting factors, so it can clot for about 15 minutes while it's in the vagina till it gets to the cervix. So that's the seminal vesicle. These two, this over here is the bladder. Here's the ureter coming into the bladder. These two, the ampulla and the seminal vesicle, both empty into something called the ejaculatory duct. I'll lift off the cover so we can see that. Underneath the bladder, this brown structure is the prostate gland. That's the second accessory organ. So both the seminal vesicle and the ampulla of the vas deferens will empty into this called the ejaculatory duct. And the ejaculatory duct goes into the first part of the male urethra, the prostatic urethra. See, here's the prostate gland, here's the bladder, the rugae of the bladder. It travels out of the bladder into the prostatic urethra. That's where urine goes. If it's during an emission, just before ejaculation, then the seminal vesicle and the sperm from the ampulla of the vas deferens come together through this ejaculatory duct into the prostatic urethra. And if I just use this side, you can see the ejaculatory duct here. And here's the prostatic urethra. So once it's in the prostatic urethra, there's prostate secretions. It's a milky secretion, it's a little bit acidic. It will have these prostatic serum antigens that will undo the clotting of the semen so that the sperm can swim again once it reaches the uterus. And it activates the sperm. Prior to this time, the sperm was not swimming. So now it's starting to swim. It also has different nutrients for energy, citric acid. So between the seminal vesicles and the prostate secretions, now the sperm is starting to swim for the first time. It moved down the vas deferens just by peristalsis and cilia, creating a current. But now it's starting to swim on its own. As we leave the prostate, we pass through this thing called the urogenital diaphragm. It's on the floor of the pelvis. And it's skeletal muscle that makes up the external sphincter. This is known as the membranous urethra, right here. It might look a little bit clearer on this half of the model. Prostatic urethra ends here. This is membranous urethra, right through this portion. And here are the muscles of that urogenital diaphragm. And as we pass through the membranous urethra, we now enter the penis, and this is the spongy urethra. The red portion here is that erectile tissue that's found on the ventral portion of the penis. There's just one of them. This is the corpus spongiosum. Now, it looks like there's two. It's just one, but it's a mid-sagittal section, and it's hollow in the center to allow for the spongy urethra. Behind it, on the dorsum, there are two of these, one on the right side, one on the left side. There's this one on the right side, and this one here on the left side. These are the corpora cavernosum. That's a corpora cavernosum, here or here. This is the one spongy cavernosum. And the spongy cavernosum enlarges at the tip to become the glans penis. And it's covered by the prepuce, or foreskin. Don't see it so much on this one. You can see a little space in between here on this, but I think other models might be a little better. So that's how sperm is developed and travels out of the male. I left one accessory organ out. The third one, first we have the seminal vesicles, the prostate, then we have this one, this little circle here. It's within the urogenital diaphragm. It's called Cowper's gland, or the bulbourethra. It produces a basic solution to help flush out any acid or urine that might have been remaining in the spongy urethra that could possibly harm the sperm. So that's the bulbourethra right there. And those are the three accessory organs. When the sperm does emerge from there, it has an acrosomal tip in the head. It has a head with an acrosomal tip, which has enzymes that will help penetrate the covering of the egg. Inside the head is the nucleus. That's the haploid number of chromosomes. 23 chromosomes come from the father. 22 are autosomal, one will be sex, either an X or a Y. A short neck, and then a mid-piece. And this mid-piece has a bunch of mitochondria so that we can develop energy. And it has the centrioles where microtubules are assembled to produce the flagella. So this is the flagella, this is the mid-piece with the mitochondria, that's the head with the DNA, and the tip has acrosomes or enzymes. If I use this model, one is the testes, two is the epididymis, three is the vas deferens, or the ductus deferens, four is where it enlarges. That's the ampulla of the vas deferens. Now on that other model, I don't know if you noticed, they put the seminal vesicle in front and the ampulla behind. In this one, it puts the seminal vesicle behind. Doesn't really make a difference. I'm not sure anatomically where you find it. Maybe they're side by side, but you can follow. If you're following the vas deferens and you see it enlarged, that's the ampulla. The one next to it that looks more glandular, that's the seminal vesicle. 5 is the seminal vesicle. 6 is the ejaculatory duct. This is the bladder, so 7 is the prostate gland. This is the prostatic urethra. Can't read the number there. Is it 8 or 9? Well, that's the prostatic urethra. It looks like it's a 9. And then from the prostatic urethra, we travel through the membranous urethra. And within that urogenital diaphragm, right here, we have 8, which is Cowper's gland. Seminal vesicle, prostate, Cowper's gland, the bulbourethra. So from the membranous urethra, we enter into the spongy urethra. So this here is the spongy urethra. I don't know, they're still showing you urethra 9. They just saying urethra, but it's prostatic, membranous, and spongy. I'm not sure why they put 2 numbers here, but 10, I'll say this portion here, it's also listed as 12, is the spongy cavernosum. 11 is the corpora cavernosum. Back here would be the bulb of the spongy cavernosum, and the bulb is where it's anchored to the floor of the pelvis, and it's surrounded by that bulbospongiosum skeletal muscle. Here we have the glans penis, 13, and the prepuce, or foreskin that covers it, leaving that little recess in between where sometimes infections occur if the foreskin isn't removed. So that's all I would show about the anatomy of the male, and we did do a lot of that in class, so hopefully a lot of this is just review.